All right, gang. This is night 2 of 25 nights to close 50. Those of you who were with me last night, you heard a little bit about how I got here and what's going on, and we came to the end of our conversation, or I guess not really a conversation, to the end of our gathering together with the lesson of, or the learning of, care enough to be in the time that you're in. I have an idea about what I think tonight is. If this is your first time hanging in with me, if you haven't met me yet, my name's Tina O, and I'm a storyteller, story tracker, story keeper. And last year at this time, I launched something called 50 Nights Voices from the Stones. And they were 50 nights of storytelling with me. And in those 50 nights, we had I shared pieces from my show called Oh My God, which I'm going to tell a story about tonight. Oh My God is about the women we burned, the babies we buried, and the gods we have worshiped. I also, in 50 Nights, I told bits and pieces from my upcoming book called Story Stones, which aligns our journey with that of a supernova. And so I told pieces from that. Also, in 50 Nights last year, I shared some sermons because I was once on a ministry path, and I wrote a number of sermons that I quite love. And so I shared those too. All of that was called 50 Nights because it was my 50th birthday that was coming up. I'm born on Christmas Day, and I launched 50 Nights on my birthday, which is Christmas Day. And each of those stories was a way for me to reach out through you to hear me say, I am, I do, and I will. And as the end of my 50th year started to approach, I started to do that thing that I do, which is, just kind of say it's no big deal, right? Oh yeah, it's just another birthday. It's just a birthday, whatever. It's just a birthday, which is kind of the game that I play with myself until my birthday's over. And even then, even my birthday's over, I'm like, oh, well, it's just a birthday. But underneath that feeling of it's just a birthday is a feeling of, but it's your birthday. And what did you want to do with it? And I could feel that starting to happen again. And more around the closure of the 50th year. I'm like, yeah, you could just let that slide. You could just let it roll by and celebrate 51. Woohoo, rock and roll, yay. But something kind of grabbed me when I realized December 1st was 25 days away to the close. And like, oh, I'm 25 days away. It's December 25th is my birthday. Huh. All right. Do this. And then I thought, sure learned a lot this year. Sure have a lot of stories this year. So this is night 2. And I have a story I'm going to share with you about something that happened in my 50th year when I was making Oh My God. But I want to say this thing first. When I went away for my birthday last year, I ended up I came back and I went to the local liquor store where I live, and I walked in and I grabbed a bottle of wine, and I got to the till and I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm just back from my birthday." And as I do, I get excited about whatever, and I was like, "Oh, just back from my birthday." And Paul's like, "Oh yeah, what birthday?" And I said, "Oh, it's my 50th birthday. I'm 50." And he looked at me, and Paul said, "You know what? This is going to be the best decade of your life." He said, "This is what I've heard. When women turn 50, it's like they give themselves the most permission. All the permission they've ever wanted to be all the things that they already are." And I remember that moment because it was just like days into my 50th. And I remember that moment, and it felt like he just solidified the gift that I kind of sensed was coming. or at least the gift I was like going to go out there and make happen anyway. And so these these little bits I'm going to share with you over the next 25 nights, I guess 24 nights, this is being the 24th, are part of those permission gifts, if you will. So the piece I'm heading into tonight is get out of the way. That's one of the biggest gifts, or at least one of the 25 gifts I'm going to talk about. The gift of getting the hell out of the way. I'm a controller, but I'm an elusive controller. You probably don't experience me as a controller because I always show up here without a script and my emotions are usually quite readily available and I don't come across as a control freak. But I am. My biggest fear or my biggest avoidance is disappointment. I will avoid disappointment at all costs. And some of those costs that I've paid around avoiding disappointment are freedom in my career, freedom in my artistry, freedom, just freedom. Can we just say that? Freedom. You know what's ridiculous? I don't even like to watch comedies because what if I don't laugh? Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be I so don't want to be disappointed. I won't even watch comedies. I've been like that since I was a kid. So this getting out of the way thing is about getting out of the way of control. So the way that I avoid disappointment is I gather all the information that I need in order to not look like an idiot in the things that I do. I'm not a mega preparer. And I even think I don't mega prepare because then if I look like an idiot, it's not because I set myself up to look like an idiot. I just wasn't prepared. Right. It's also a bit of a vein of gold for me is not to be too prepared, but make no mistake. I think even that skill was created out of the avoidance of being disappointed. So I will collect all the information that I need. I will put all the things in place so that I'm never surprised. I hate surprises. Like surprises take me out. Surprises can take me out for days or months. And so when I was making Oh My God, wasn't in the writing of Oh My God, because the writing of Oh My God, there were lots of surprises, but let's be real. I held the pen. I got to decide if I wrote it. I got to decide even after I wrote it if I was going to say it. So I was totally in control of all of those surprises. You'll notice that I shot Oh My God instead of performing Oh My God live. A piece of that is self-care for me, that I recognize I'm not ready to perform that live. I don't actually know if this instrument can do that in service of you as an audience member and in service of me as the artist. So part of it's that. But I only got to that place because I refused to be disappointed. And so I knew by shooting it, I could at least have some control over it. So that's all well and good, right? But I still had to perform that piece. And in true Overbury fashion, I was barely off book when we were shooting. In fact, I had my script, which is a 90-minute script. So there's, I don't know, 57 pages or something. I had it on a little music stand, and in between scenes, I would go look at it, and then I would come back. And of course, the best work I did was when I got the hell out of the way and frankly improvised some of the stuff because I wasn't off book and I got into flow with it. But that's not the story I have for you. The story I have for you is about this piece in the show that I just couldn't get off book with. It took so long So if you've watched the show, you'll know that there's a whole witch burning scene in the center. And the worst thing you can do for an actor is write them a scene where they have real historical names, like real people, put them in a list, make them different ages, and have them come one after the other in a high stakes situation. So that was mine. I had 5 women who were burning at the stake, one after another, all real women from history, all different ages, and all with a different story. And I couldn't get off book. So off book, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it means I couldn't memorize it. I couldn't get it all in my head. And it didn't matter which way I came at it. It just wasn't happening for me. And I would, I'd stand in my bedroom and I would prattle it off and I'd get it. And then as soon as I would have to give it away, like as soon as I had to let go, like let it go from me to you, it was gone. I couldn't hold on to it. So when the day to shoot came, we'd done the morning, and the morning was rough in the beginning because I was holding on pretty tight, and then it was okay. And by lunchtime, I'm like, okay, I've got this. But then after lunch, we were going to shoot this witch scene, and I was sitting outside, and I had my script, which is this one, and I was looking it over, and I was running through it, and Nicole Natra sat down beside me, and she's the dramaturg and my bestie, just to check in with me because she has this beautiful way of being with artists. Her work in the world is around the safety of artists. And she would ask me through the whole process, what does your artist need? I was like, what? What do you mean? What does your artist need? I don't know. Isn't that the same as me? No. What does your artist need? What does your artist need to get the hell out of the way and just let the story be enough so you don't have to be the story? Let the story be enough. What do you need? What do you need for it to be vulnerable? What do you need to feel safe? What do you need to feel comfortable? What do you need? Right? And I'm not very good at that. I've never been good at that. I had a naturopath once say to me in my 30s, she wasn't really a naturopath. In fact, there's a whole scene in my show about that. If she wasn't really a naturopath, it's just what we called her, 20 years ago when we didn't want to say homeopath because she might not get paid, right? Anyway, she sat across from me and she said to me, she says, all I want you to do this week, Tina, is wear socks and a sweater because you don't even know when you're cold. I was so bad at taking care of my own needs or even knowing that I had needs. So when Nicole was asking me, what do you need? I had no answer for her, but it was something I got at least a little bit in practice of. So now we're coming back to, we're sitting outside the shoot and she sits down beside me and she's like, what do you need? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I need, but I know that I don't want to let down these women. These 5 real women. I did not want to let them down. They are real women. At all costs, I didn't want to disappoint them. And I know that they're dead. But they were real women, and they are real women to me. And I didn't want to disappoint them. She's like, okay. And there's really nothing she could do there but offer me the space to know that I've done the work. I care deeply for these women, which is why they're in this show. And I'm honoring them, and I'm honoring their death by naming their death in this show, and to just let it go. Let it go. Like, can we just stop saying that? Let it go. What the hell? Do you know even, like, what does that feel like? No. Not for me yet anyway. I can't, if I have to actively let something go, I'm already in trouble. Because as soon as I'm activated in the letting it go, I'm now doing something and I'm not out of the way. So we go in to the space and camera goes on. And I wish I could tell you what happened because I don't actually know what happened. I can't tell you what I did, but I knew all these lines. I knew every single one of them. And as I did each of these women, woman number one is Petronilla de Medea. I'm just going to read this to you really briefly so you know who I'm talking about. Woman number one. They didn't know that human flesh takes a long time to catch fire. I am Petronilla de Medea. They think I can fly. I am an abomination, and I am the first to burn. Woman number two. The first thing that happens is the fire peels away the skin. I am Alison Balfour. They tortured my entire family. I'm a heretic. They burned me. Woman number three. After 5 minutes, the skin splits and the fat leaks out, and then your muscles dry and you twitch. I am Viola. I am 17. They just pointed at me and I was taken. I am a whore. Woman number four. And this woman, I don't even know what happened. But when this woman came out of my mouth, which I'm not doing now, obviously, but when she came out of my mouth, it was a sound I had never made before, or if I had, I did not recognize it. I am Walpurga. I am a midwife. They called me a baby killer. I am a witch. Woman number five. They called me the wise wife of Keith. I am a healer. I'm not a witch. I'm a medicine woman. I am not a witch. I'm a mother. I'm accused. I am just a child. I'm a midwife. I'm not a witch. I am married to Michael Cleary. He held me over a fire until nothing remained but my ashes. I am 27 years old. I am the last witch of Ireland. There's actually 6 women. After we had done that scene, camera goes off, and I looked at James, who was the digital director, and he's like, fuck, you nailed it. I'm like, I can't do that again. I can't do that again. And he said, you have to, because we need a wide shot now. Again, I wish I could explain what happened. All I know is I got out of the way. I didn't do some fancy breath work. I didn't I don't know. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And that's probably what I'm talking about, was I stopped doing anything. And I did it again. And this time when we finished it, I actually had to leave the room, and Nicole was there and grabbed me and sat with me to kind of collect me. And I want to say that that was good work, right? That's what we strive for as artists. That was good work. But it didn't feel like work. It felt like getting out of the way. And when I think about the places in my life where I didn't check my brain at the door, I didn't what am I trying to say? Like, I didn't put all of my things down to get swept away. Getting swept away is not getting out of the way. The only reason why I could do that scene that way is because I was fully there in my body, in the moment. The lines were there. The connection to those women were there. I was connected to those women, and I got out of the way. And the words, the story took over. Took over? No. And the story and I did the thing, did relationship together. The camera just happened to be on. So my offer to you tonight in these 25 nights in terms of the gifts that this year has brought me and through the experiences that this year has brought me is I've had a habit of avoiding disappointment at all costs. And if I had done that in that scene, it would have cost me disappointing these 6 women that were real women that were burned at the stake alive. And I wasn't gonna disappoint them. So, who might you be if you got out of the way? Which really is, who would we meet? Who would we see if you got out of the way? And who you are was what we saw. Well, that's my lesson for tonight. Thanks for being with me. If you want to watch Oh My God, because some of you haven't seen it, I will include the link below so you can go there. And I'm also going to be starting another 50 nights of storytelling that starts January 31st. New stories as I go to Ireland. And if you listen to last night's piece, I talked about that, about I'm going to Ireland and I don't know why, but I actually do know why. The words aren't there yet. And I'm leaving in March and for the equinox, and I'm going to start 50 nights January 31st with the 50th night happening on the spring equinox in Ireland. So thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of my story and listening to mine. Yeah, listening is a bit of a lost art. So thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow night.